Hello, hello. Happy Sunday and welcome back to the UpSet podcast. We're so happy that you tuned in this Sunday. And of course, I couldn't do this alone. I have the most fantabulous crew in all the land here with me.
Making up
Hello,
words.
everybody.
Hello.
Fantabulous we are.
Hello.
Fantabulous.
Good to
Fantabulous.
see
How's everybody?
everyone.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely good to see everybody. How's everybody been? What's your week been like?
And there you have it.
Blessed. I say my week is blessed.
Fantabulous.
Yeah, it's like once you get to the end, you're like, all right, it's done.
Yeah.
All right. So what about your timelines? What are you seeing that's catching your attention in the news or on your social media platforms?
What's happening to our universities?
Mm.
Oh man,
Yeah.
in Charlottesville and
Oh,
Idaho.
yeah.
That's very,
Yeah.
very sad.
Yeah.
Especially in, when I was looking at UVA, right? All of those, the young men just look like, really, really good people, aspiring. And then the guy that did the shooting his dad said he was being picked on,
Mm.
and at 22 years old, he just destroyed his life,
And others.
Yeah, right. And
And the
others.
lives of others, yeah.
Yeah, and others. And so, that's why we need to talk to somebody. We need to, you're having some issues. You really have to see people, and it's just
Yeah.
that was just the whole Idaho thing. I don't know much about that one. I just know they found 4 college students deceased and they don't know what happened.
That's a little concerning. I think this is why we probably need more like mental health,
Yes.
self-care facilities on. I mean, I know sometimes they have the counseling center, but sometimes it's so set apart. It's not really, encouraged for students to attend. We're seeing more and more that these students are dealing with a lot, and the help they need is not always accessible to them because this is just crazy what's happening on our campuses.
Or they need help, but they don't cry out. They don't go seek the help.
Right.
Yeah, we still have a gun violence problem in America, regardless of how deep the mental health crisis or need is.
Yeah, that's true.
We have a serious gun problem in America, and too many lives are being lost.
Absolutely.
And there doesn't seem to be any real solutions. Our politicians will campaign on gun laws, campaign on, let's stop the violence. But something happens when they get in office.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
nothing demonstrative done. I mean, I'm just shooting straight here. There's nothing demonstratively done to address this issue. And it's unfortunate, and I hate to be the one of doom and gloom, but I don't really think it's going to change in our lifetime. So it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate, and we're going to see more of it.
Yeah. I just want to add to that. I mean, there are some people who are really trying, but when a total vote is needed to move something and people feel that their Second Amendment rights override everything, I should be able to carry my gun. And then, they start doing commercials of having guns and the whole family having guns, and you're taking pictures. And so now you increase the purchasing of guns. Nothing is going to get worse because now you've made easy access to guns, and so it's like in my house, I might want to do something, but if the spouse says no, that's not going to be done, and then my decision has an override, and so
Right. And you also need to look at the entertainment industry. If you go to Netflix and look at the thumbnails, the majority of the thumbnails has a gun in it.
Yeah.
And this
Violence
is the culture we
sales.
live in. You got a problem, you want to solve it, you pull out your long gun, you shoot the guy, and it's all over. And when that's continually put into our entertainment and into our stories and into our podcasts and whatever,
Podcast.
it's
like us video games,
absolutely. And I just wanted, in terms of my timeline thing, since this is the holiday season and specifically, Thanksgiving, I bring to mind again the famine that is occurring in Sudan, Yemen, Somalia.
Wow.
They are literally, as we speak, children dying from hunger. So I think during this Thanksgiving season, we, should not only be thankful for what we have, but let's pray for those. There are a lot of agencies trying to help, but it's so overwhelming. So let's just keep that in mind in our own gratefulness.
Absolutely.
And Chuck, if I can say this too, make a difference, do something. I mean, Vision World, asked for us to sponsor, a child. I pray that it gets to them, and it talks about how many children that, they feed from, one donation that we give monthly. And so, if you've been really blessed and because what I give $40, $39 a month, I think. And when we can spend $39 so easily, and not even know where it went.
That's one
Sometimes like,
small
where's
bag
my
at the
money?
supermarket now. Yeah.
Right. And so if we could help somebody, that's
even just locally, if you know a next door neighbor that's struggling,
Right.
you just take, we lived in a townhouse development some years ago when the boys were small. We knew that there was a family that was really suffering bad. So we just jumped in the car a couple of times and we just went to the grocery store and bought bags of groceries and brought it to the house. Unsolicited, and we knew that. And they were so grateful, probably feeling a little embarrassed, but we knew that they were hurting and she had 2 small children. So we just did that because we were aware of it. And once you become aware of it, it's like the old saying, when you see something, say something. Well, when you see something, do something.
Yeah.
Well done.
Amen.
Well, we celebrate the contribution of one woman in politics, Nancy Pelosi.
Yes.
She resigned her position of leadership in the House of Representatives nationally, but here in the state of Pennsylvania, for the first time ever, a Black woman has now become the Speaker of the House. For the state, Joanne McClinton has become the Speaker of the House as Democrats have assumed leadership of the House of Representatives in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So we salute her.
All right.
Look forward to the contribution of a good woman.
Bravo.
Women doing great things. I love it.
Very much so.
Yes.
Very much so.
Yes. We like
Yeah,
that.
one of the things that came upon my timeline, I saw this hashtag Justice for Shanquella. So she went on a trip with some friends in Mexico, and one of those friends apparently flung her around her neck and broke it and beat her to death. And those friends flew back and said, "Oh, she was poisoned by drugs or had an overdose." But now they're investigating and uncovering some layers, and the truth is coming out. And so apparently a transgender woman, he became she. So she beat her friend up to death. So it's a sad situation to go on vacation like that with people you think who have your best interest, but the case is otherwise. So
is Shanquella a transgender person?
No, she's not. But the person who beat her,
assaulted her,
allegedly,
yeah.
It's funny. I mean, they often talk about the violence that violence breeds. Yesterday, Saturday, was a day of remembrance for transgender people.
Wow.
In the last 2 years, about 400 transgender people have been murdered in the United States because of their status as transgender. And now we see the violence coming from the community upon whom the violence was enacted, which is the same thing that we see in African American communities that have been subjected to so much violence breeds violence. And so
that is so true.
Go ahead. No,
go ahead, Pat. Go ahead.
It's really short. I like to watch leaders, especially in the financial world. And so when I look at Elon Musk, I was a Tesla fan, sort of still is, but this guy, took over Twitter and the mass
losing money, buddy.
My goodness.
Are they talking about charging for people to use Twitter? Still,
there's a whole lot that he's talking about. I mean, it's too much to talk about to talk for us to talk about right now, but it just tells me that you may be a great leader in this field, but not
it
this.
translates everywhere.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't translate everywhere.
stay in your lane.
And
Well, I was angry at the fact that right during Thanksgiving, so many people lost their jobs.
that's right.
Unexpectedly.
Yeah.
But let's
And that
flip it though, Chuck. There are a lot that said, I ain't dealing with him and quit. So it even
well, that's true. I mean, if you do that, then
that's
whatever
that's
on you. But there are a lot of people who certainly did not expect that.
Sure.
And now their holiday has a cloud over it.
Yeah.
You're right.
And those are the people I feel for.
You're right. Right.
And then his purpose for wanting Twitter, so that's why so many people are leaving. So he might be good with the car. Well, they even say a lot of issues are with the cars too that you purchase. They have some mechanical issues, but
not that many.
I mean, don't let Pat hear that.
Every once in a while, they just explode at a traffic light. But other than that,
it's okay. Well, I'm American now. I mean, I'm doing the GMC right now, so we'll wait. We'll wait around.
Hey, but I got a question. Pat, what's going on with crypto? Everybody's being charged and stuff. Are you losing money?
Lost, not losing.
It's like everybody lost all their money.
Yeah, if you in it, you lost something. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just not going. I am not going to spend money on money I can't see.
And it's true. Every good thing must come to an end, but it'll come back. But it just doesn't have the boom that it had when it there's always an explosion.
Yeah, the market goes through waves.
Yes, and this is one of the biggest waves. So I'll just say right now that that when it comes back, I'll buy Twitter. That's all, and put all that.
I just don't know what it is. It's
you gotta have faith, Tally. Faith.
Yeah, but I'd like to have money.
Faith in people's money. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, cryptocurrency. You can't
a lot of
see
money.
it.
You can't see it.
Where it at? Who made it up? Where they keep it?
How do you invest in zeros and ones?
Yeah.
Right?
So
it's true.
But anyway.
All right. As we transition to our topic for this evening, and once again, we thank you all for tuning in, and we hope that you will engage us in the chat, though we are not live and we're not ignoring you, but we do want to know what you think about this topic that we're talking about today, which is none other than gratitude. We are in the season of Thanksgiving, and everyone's taking the time, or most people are taking the time to reflect on those things that they are thankful and grateful for. And often we hear the words thankful and grateful. And the title of our episode today is an attitude of gratitude. So we kind of want to focus on what's the difference? What's the difference between being thankful versus having an attitude of gratitude? And does it even matter? And, what is that all about? So I kind of wanted to start off by talking a little bit about the two, and us kind of discussing it, because we kind of hear them used interchangeably, similar to happy and joy, but we recognize that there is a difference between the two of those words. So when we think about being grateful or gratitude, Merriam-Webster's dictionary says that it's defined as appreciative of benefits received. Meanwhile, in the same dictionary, being thankful is defined as being conscious of benefits received and also well pleased. But there are multiple layers for gratitude, and I'm going to kind of share with you what some of those are. It's a little bit more complex than just saying thank you or I'm thankful for that. It's not about performing one action. It's also an emotion that serves as a positive biological purpose. Okay, what am I talking about here? Gratitude embodies a general state of thankfulness. So, for instance, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. You hear that a friend is sick. You may reflect on your life and feel grateful for your health. So obviously you're not grateful that your friend is sick, but being aware of a friend being sick makes you then internally say, wow, I'm grateful that I am healthy and that, I have a life. Or say, for instance, and this happens to us all the time, you have to reschedule a meeting at the last minute due to a family emergency. You will probably feel grateful for the other meeting attendees if they're understanding of your last minute crisis. Okay. You're grateful that they are willing to adjust their time. Say you go to a third world country. Surely you would feel gratitude for your access to clean water and fresh foods because you see that they don't have that. I mean, if it sounds kind of bad that you're feeling grateful because you have something someone else doesn't, but it makes you aware of the things that you may take for granted on a daily basis that others do not have. Or let's say you have a tough day at work, and every once in a while we have those. You might stop to just be grateful that you have a job, unlike the many who are unemployed. All right, now let's look at thankfulness. Thankfulness is often a response you have after something specific has been done for you or you receive a specific gift. For example, someone holds the door open for you. What do we usually say? Thank you.
Thank you.
Right?
Or nothing.
I'm liberated.
Yeah.
like the woman said, I'm liberated. I'm empowered. Why are you patronizing me?
Or if someone gives you a Christmas gift or a birthday present, you're thankful. Or someone tells you that they like the shirt you're wearing. So in that moment, you're thankful that the person is appreciating, but it doesn't necessarily cause you to reflect or think about in general what it is that you're grateful for. And I heard someone say this week that gratefulness is not about focusing on the things that you want, but being grateful for what you already have. And I think it was Pastor Baxter. He did worship one day this week, and he used this phrase called thanks living. Instead of Thanksgiving, thanks living, which is almost synonymous with gratitude. That means that in any situation that happens in life, you're able to take something away from it. And I think he told this story about someone who was robbed and everything was taken from them. But yet the man stopped and said, "Oh, I'm thankful that he didn't take my life. I'm thankful that, I forgot what else it was. I still have my shirt. He took my watch, but I still have my shirt. And I'm thankful I'm not the robber." I mean, something as simple as that. Whereas sometimes it's our instinct to think about what we lost. Yet this man took the time to think about what he had. Mm-hmm. And so that's pretty much the difference between thankfulness and gratitude. Gratitude is a way of life. Gratitude is how you live. Gratitude is the emotional response to recognizing pretty much how blessed you are in spite of what's happening, whether it's good or bad. Whereas thankfulness is more a response to something positive that's happening in real time. Does that make sense? Like you guys kind of, and both are good. Both are good. But to me, gratitude is more satisfying in that you can experience that every day of your life. And that's what we're hoping from tonight's episode that we'll all be reminded of. Now, when we think about gratitude, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with our spirituality, right? I mean, would you guys agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Reverend.
but when I say that, a lot of times our gratitude as Christians stems a lot from recognizing that we are children of God, right? I mean, that's the greatest gift, but it's a gift that we benefit from every day. And we not only appreciate the gift of life, but we appreciate the giver of life. We appreciate Christ. We appreciate the gift of salvation. And because of those things alone, that is enough for us to live a life of gratitude. Would you guys agree?
I know some ungrateful Christians.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
But I think of gratefulness in this maybe might be considered an extreme. But when, for instance, someone is a victim of natural disaster and they've probably lost their home or their place of, where they work or whatever. And I'm sure many of us have seen interviews of, how the news media likes to stick a mic in your face after you, with the background of your house in rubbles, they'll ask you a stupid question like, well, how do you feel?
How do you feel? Yeah.
Losing everything you ever.
And it's amazing how some of those disasters, many people say, yeah, I lost everything, but I'm really grateful I have my family. I'm grateful, for whatever. I mean, standing in the midst of total destruction. You talk about a test about gratefulness, you know, and there are others that, you know, they weep, you know, and they say, you know, this is terrible, and, you know, my life has to start over, and, you know, all the down stuff. But the people who say, yeah, I lost everything, car, you know, house, whatever, but I'm just grateful to be alive. I'm grateful because all this stuff we can get again, you know, just grateful. And it also helps you settle your spirit.
Yes.
You know, you feel like, okay, yeah, I lost whatever, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but, you know, there's nothing more important and more of a priority than life itself. So, yeah, I see that. I see that clear distinction. You know, gratefulness is a way of life, a mindset.
Right. So why do you think it's, you know, because I know I'm just going to speak for myself. I find myself sometimes falling into that trap of, like, when certain things happen to me repeatedly. Oh, why is it always me? Why do I always, you know, why is my car always the one that the deer wants to hit? Or why is, you know,
he waits for Tasha.
why?
That's her.
Might have a lot to do with the fact that you drive through the woods.
Location.
She said the deer hitting it, not she hitting the deer.
He'll run right into my car. But no, you know, you look at what's wrong with the situation where, and, you know, I could be very grateful that I didn't have to swerve off the road, and that, or that my car can be fixed, that I have insurance, and that, you know, I want to be able to, when those bad moments happen, to go there first and say, oh Lord, thank you that this could have been so much worse, instead of, oh man, why not? You know, it's like, how do we get to that point where, when things happen, good or bad, particularly bad, because that's when we struggle, that we can shift to this mind of, okay, it could have been worse. Or is that realistic? Is that realistic?
I think it's learned, Tosh. I think it's learned. Like, I don't know about you, but when I look over all of the traumas of my life, you know, I can go back and say, man, God, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that. Because along the way, I saw God's hand. I saw God's providence. I saw his you know, vision for me, and how, you know, ordering my steps, preparing me, you know, it was so much more good that came out of the trauma, that you learn that, okay, if I'm going through this now, God is working, God is doing something, you know, and he's going to bring me out. It was amazing when Chuck was saying losing everything. There was one year I was in a storm, and I didn't own my house at the time, but I lost everything. But, you know, God gave me so much more, you know, over the years, you know, that it can't even compare to what I lost. All I had was the clothes on my back. My car was submerged. But listen, I had just been in a car accident 2 months prior, hit in the back on my birthday, totaled that car, had to buy another car for 2 months later, to be in a bad storm that my car was totally submerged, but I'm standing in water because the water woke me up by hitting me in my face. My fan was on, and the water hit me in my face, woke me up. I'm standing in water, a conduction of electricity, pulling the cord of the fan out, right? So that there's no you know, that I'm not shocked, you know.
You grab the wire.
Yes. There was I couldn't grab the button because it was underwater.
My girl.
But I'm telling you the goodness of God. Listen,
you ain't kidding.
When you're trying to live, you're just moving, right? You're just like, let me pull it out, right? Because you're already standing in the water. The fan is already underwater. What do you do? You see
I can see the Lord saying to Gabriel, look at what she's doing, Gabriel. Look at her.
I was almost a glow. Yes.
Wow. Where were you? Were you in Virginia?
In Virginia, yeah. Wow. There was a bad storm, and something about the drainage didn't. So the water was so high, but by the time
you were in your bedroom
in boats, we were rescued in boats by the fire department.
Wow.
And when I looked up, because when I woke up in water, I was like, what in the world is going on? And I looked out of my front window, and it was like a sea. All you could see was water.
Well,
and
that's
my
frightening.
car, yes, it was submerged. And the water was just raising higher and higher in the house. It was raining like Noah was going in the ark. It was really bad.
You know, Marlena,
So-
the longer I know you, you represent to me. You know how people say you don't look like what you've been through?
Mhm,
I mean,
mhm.
because people look at you, you look like you just had a perfect life, but you have faced some challenges and come out on the other side looking like you're just all right. So
I
well, you know, the
faced
next
some hell in
time
my life.
Hollywood is casting a follow-up to Wakanda, I think you ought to go
Yes.
And tell them about my story
and
standing in water.
tell them your
You
story,
are a
and
warrior.
they'll,
You're a true warrior.
yeah.
that's serious.
But you know what you described, I think, is an aspect of gratitude, because now you're bringing back something that happened.
Mhm.
Sometimes when we look back on some of our most I don't know, disturbing or egregious experiences, we look back and we say we say, I'm so grateful that this happened versus that. And your reaching back is another mindset of gratitude. You're grateful that under all those circumstances,
Yes.
that you're able to sit here in front of a microphone and tell the story.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to the fact that even in the present, when we don't have everything we want or things aren't going exactly the way we want, we can certainly reach back and put ourselves in a mindset of gratefulness, because there may have been times worse than your current.
Mm-hmm.
And, reaching back and thinking back, I think Timothy taught us about that. Thinking back of how God has blessed. Not trying to preach, I just, I just go on to Sabbath school. I know a couple things. I know a couple things,
Reverend. Come on.
Yeah. When I start playing the organ, that's when y'all need to play. But it's that reaching back.
And I'm glad
And
you
if
mentioned.
let
Go ahead.
me say
Marlene.
this real quick, and then I'll be done. But I want to say, because it's really important for people to know, we focus on what we lose, right? But we don't know how God takes those losses and blesses us. At that time, I didn't have a home. I had one car, right? And that was all taken. But I look at many years even before today, God gave me 2 houses. I mean, not small, well, one is smaller, but big house. God is, as a single woman, great career and things like that. And so we look at, when people, and it's true, Tally, when I meet people, they're like, man, especially when they hear my story of domestic violence, it's like, there's no way, you would have gone through that. But God has a way of taking your sorrow, and blessing you, that you don't look like what you went through, and you're a pure example of Him. And so I just wanted, other people to know, because especially during COVID, it was so much loss of life, that we knew. So, just so much loss over this time. But if we hold on, we'll see how God is, His hand has been over us, and we'll be blessed so much for it.
A thought just came to mind about the gratefulness scenario. I think that emotionally, if you can imagine, if you would just zoom out from your life, you will end up connecting more dots than you have before. Because zooming out can start as early as your childhood up to now. But sometimes we get so focused on the moment that we don't think about the grand theme of your life. And so when you zoom out, you'll see more dots that you need to connect that brings you to your life today and your level of gratefulness.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And there's go ahead, Tyler.
No, go ahead, Tosh.
No, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
No, I would just say I'm grateful for the things that God has done, and I'm grateful for the victories that we won. I could go on and on and on about His works because I'm grateful. I could write a song about that.
You really could.
You see, you using
I was
someone's
wondering about
lyrics.
I think you've already written it.
No, but I wanted to, even with your situation, Marlena, one of the things we recognize about God, I mean, in the Bible, He instructs us to give thanks. I mean, there's a reason for that. And when we do it, there's a benefit for us. I mean, I think we sometimes rob ourselves of certain things because we aren't grateful for what the Lord is doing. And, one of the popular stories in the Bible that kind of illustrate illustrates how important it is the 10 lepers. You know how Jesus healed 10 of them, but only one came back to say thank you. Now they were all grateful in the moment, okay, for what had been done, but the one exercised more a spirit of gratitude in that he recognized that this was just more than a healing that had taken place for him. And he was able to go back, and the Bible stressed that for a reason. I think, you know, anything that's in the Bible, in God's word, is there for us to learn from. And so, you know, what do you think? Why do you think God, or particularly the word, stresses this importance of giving thanks? What does it do for us spiritually?
It reminds us of the source of our blessings, right? We can oftentimes get so overwhelmed with life that we think about what we have, what we don't have, the resources that we need, and we forget the source of all of our blessings. And I forgot who said it, but if you're not grateful for what you have, you'll never be grateful for what you don't have. So you have to at least be grateful for what you have right now. And like Paul said, you know, I know what it is to have plenty. I know what it is to have little, but I've learned the secret of contentment.
Being content.
Right?
Yeah.
So being content with whatever God allows in your life
Amen.
is helpful to you to be grounded in God and to be grateful at all times.
Listen to these preachers getting started, Chuck. You know, Chuck looked back wistfully and said, "I believe it was Timothy that said." You know, and then Tasha going, and GP is getting
we're trying to push Pat to swing around and start hitting a chord on that
organ. Yeah, you know. You know, but you know, life is about perspective, and you know, when the Bible says to give thanks, it's asking us to shift perspective.
Right.
If you become what you focus on,
right,
and if all you can remember,
Sally, you got to say that again. Say it again for the people.
Yeah, I mean, if all you can recall is who talked bad about you and who didn't say, you walk in the church and you remember the one person who didn't speak, and you forget the 500 people who did.
Yes,
so
say it, Tally.
When the Bible says, be thankful, it's saying shift your perspective, and and you know, give thanks with a grateful heart, and give thanks for the whole one. Give thanks because He's given.
Somebody mute Tally.
I write a song about that. You know, write a song about that.
Good. Yes.
You want to hear it? Here it goes.
You can steal a song about that.
Our stream's going to get cut off for.
You know, I think the thing that I recognize. Oh, it's sad to say, going over this this conversation, is that, you know, as kids, as children, we learn to say thank you, and it's because, you know, it's a part of good manners that if somebody gives you something, you know, your parents will turn around and say, "Did you thank your auntie? Did you say thank you?" You know, you know. It's equivalent to a 2-year-old saying no that don't know that they're saying no, but you know, it's just something that comes natural for us to say thank you, even if we don't mean it. It's a good manners type thing. I think to be grateful, you know, I think when I think of gratefulness, I think it comes from the heart. Whereas to say thank you, you know, is lip service, is something that we used to say to have good manners, or to be, you know, have mannerism. Somebody hands you a plate, or here's something, we say thank you. I think to be grateful is a mind thing and a heart thing. Whereas you don't have to say thank you, but your whole being says it for you, you know, even if you don't say the words thank you, you know. And I know we say God, or, you know, we're looking at, you know, I felt guilty because in my prayers have changed over a time where I've been taught to pray to say thank you, but my whole prayer altogether is that I'm grateful for who God is in my life and what He has done for me. Go ahead, Tyler. When I look back over my life, no, but it's true though, right? And that's why I like what you said, Chuck. If you could just satellite yourself and look down, it gives you a whole different ball game of how what gratitude is. Let me just say this one more thing. Gratitude allows you to give without even thinking about what you're giving.
In return, yeah.
It's not about what
unconditional benevolence.
Yeah, unconditionally.
Right.
When I drive down the street and I see the beggar, my wife and I are different.
I hope so.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I look at them and say, let's go ahead and give. She has a backstory. Well, what if they're going to do this? Or what if they're going to do that? What if they're going to do the other? The other side of it. And that's how I give. Now she's flipped now. She'll say, hey, let's go feed the homeless. And I'm like, there's ways they could eat. There's different. I mean, there's different. You know what?
I'm shaking my head on that dude.
Ways that they could eat.
Mercy.
I think our gratefulness is different. It shows up in different.
You
know
no,
what?
we understand.
Yeah.
You play that organ some more over there.
Anyway, the point is grateful heart. That's the point.
Yeah. And go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, because it popped in my mind as we're describing these scenarios, that trying to get that correlation or connection between gratefulness and contentment. Some people see contentment in one way, and others see it in another way, where if you are contented, does that automatically make you a grateful person, and vice versa?
That's a good thought.
Yeah, because I think Pat was alluding to the fact that gratitude is also a posture. So, it's not just what what you do, but it's an attitude. I think gratitude also keeps you humble and reminded of your source of your blessings. It's not about you. It's all about what God is doing and how God is blessing. And so having that posture, I think, kind of keeps you grounded. And so, yeah, you can be content and not be grateful. I think so.
That's wisdom, GP. Flesh and blood did not reveal that to thee.
Absolutely. So what I wanted to, kind of have us go through, because sometimes it's not always easy to get to that point. When you're talking about thankfulness and gratefulness, it's easy to kind of chime in and say what we're supposed to say. But when it comes to actually practicing it in our daily lives, it's not always our default. I mean, if I'm going to speak for myself, it's not always my default. And so, there are ways we kind of have to develop this habit of gratefulness. And actually, my daughter, Kaden, she is the one who kind of introduced me to these gratitude journals or prompts that, she actually asked for one for her birthday, because what it does is every day you have to answer a question. And it's not always obvious that in answering your question, you're actually going to reflect on something that you should be thankful for, but it kind of subconsciously makes you aware of your blessings. And so I thought it might be fun for us to kind of do some of these quick prompts, and we want to invite our audience, go ahead and answer them in the chat with us so we can read them as well.
I didn't get the memo. Was this in the cue cards? Because I didn't get the memo.
These are easy. Like, for instance, number one, we're each going to do it. Name something positive that happened to you recently that made you feel more fortunate.
Hmm.
Should I start?
Yeah, you better.
I have a good one too.
No, go ahead. Go on, Marlene. I'll let you start.
So I know this is mid-November, but coming out the last Sabbath, my church blessed me so much for Pastor Appreciation Month. And I mean, they went over and beyond, and I'm so grateful. I got to tell you what they did. I got to brag on my church, the Willow Grove SDA Church, Willow Grove, PA. Yes. And so first of all, they made me a really great dinner. after church, big cake. It was a high day. I thought it was for the guests, but I guess I shared in that day. But they made this really beautiful basket with lights around it. One of my church members gifted with doing that. And the church just came around and the members gave me cards.
Nice.
And they just walked around, they hugged me. But when I got home, I was rolling dough like I was a drug dealer.
All right.
I mean, listen, it was over $2,600. Over.
All right.
Over.
That's amazing.
Definitely more fortunate.
But listen, people were in the cars. People had hundreds of dollar bills. I mean, many. It was. I. And then the words that they said about me. I was like, God,
what's the name of the church again?
And then, let's hope none of our subscribers know your address.
Just don't try to take my church, right? But I mean, it was just that. I mean, then they gave me gift cards and cars to spas and nail spas. I mean, it was all of that, and they showed me such love and appreciation. And I was speechless, before God, but extremely grateful. Because a lot of times, I think I'm here by myself and I'm having family. I have a few friends here that are very close to me, but me and my family have always been very close. And now, I'm without them and just losing my mom, and I just saw all of that, just the love of God that he shows to me through others. And so I was extremely fortunate for that. And I just want to give a shout out to my people. They're beautiful. I love them. And I'm so grateful.
I'm grateful to see it. I mean, because a lot of times, especially in the Adventist fellowship, pastors come and go so quickly that and most of our churches don't even recognize Pastor Appreciation Month and or anniversaries and things like that. But to see a church demonstrating their gratitude, that's just a good thing to see.
Yeah,
I mean, I celebrate with you on that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, and there's something to say for those
received the quantity of financial funds that Marlena received, but I received quality love from my churches, and so I'm also grateful.
Virginia has good churches.
Oh yes, loving people.
Right. They are loving.
I'm grateful for the pastor's appreciation gift, and also they showered love on my wife for her birthday and showed appreciation to her. And so I'm just grateful to have loving church families, and also to be finally settled in Virginia officially in our own place. And so we're overflowing with blessings.
Yeah, that's something to say for that pastor that only got $26 for pastor appreciation.
Or nothing at all.
Or nothing at all.
I spoke to a pastor, they got absolutely nothing, and I was so sad. And
I mean, most churches don't, I mean, especially in our fellowship where they say, well, we pay tithe and that's it. They don't realize how difficult it's been pastoring during a pandemic. It's very challenging. Stuff you used to do collectively and en masse, you now have to do individually. And something like 2,400 pastors during the pandemic walked away from their pulpits. And so for those who still, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how I did it. I mean, being a retired person from pastoring, because I'm still doing a lot of other stuff, but I don't know how I did it. I mean, and I'm grateful that I survived
it's in you. God put it in you.
But I'm getting the victory over it every day.
I don't believe you. You miss it. I know you do.
I do. I readily admit I do. I do.
But he still gets invited to speak, so.
But I don't take it.
Yes.
Not all of them.
Yes. That's what I'm not grateful for. You turn me down.
I did. Oh, it is time to correct this.
Okay,
I accepted.
Yeah.
No, I accepted.
That's even worse.
I accepted, and then didn't the church change the date?
Yes, because
there we go. Let's continue on.
This sounds like
because of the pandemic.
This sounds personal right here.
This sounds like offline.
He dumped me like a girl. He dumped me like a woman.
I accepted the date, and then they changed it. I didn't even know. I'm laying on the church step with a pillow, waiting for it to open, and they changed the date. And,
family, that's not the truth.
With a pillow.
And we only pushed it back a couple of weeks.
Oh, there it goes. There goes. This
all right. Back to thankfulness.
All the gratitude out the window.
Exactly. Right? So we're grateful that Tally had a pillow. I mean, like, let's around and let's at least hear from one other person about something positive that happened to you recently. Then we'll go to another question so we can get some more of them in. Anybody else have anything specific positive? Go ahead, Charles.
This may not, may not be on the level of,
Yes,
gifts or
all
whatever,
level.
but one of my sons recently was in an automobile accident.
What?
Oh,
And when you look at his vehicle, it was so bad that, airbags deployed and all that. And I was grateful that he was actually able to call me from the accident scene.
Yeah.
And when I rushed to the accident scene, of course, police were there. When you start to pull up, you see
you think of the
2 or 3 police cars, an ambulance, a fire engine. You're like,
yeah. Terrifying.
And I pulled around all that and saw my son.
Yeah.
Walking.
All you need, right?
Amen.
Towards me.
Amen.
What was your response, Charles? What was your response?
He's going to cry right now. This is it.
Yeah.
That's
it.
Charles is a very emotional man. I mean, he covers it, but he is a very, and that's what allows him to be great with creativity. But I can imagine that you just broke down when you saw him walking towards you.
Almost. And I wouldn't do it because I didn't want to embarrass my son.
Right.
Come on, Dad. Why you crying, man? What's up? Yeah, I'm here. I'm alive.
I should have called Mom.
Was it Evan?
See, I tried to keep it anonymous, but since it
must have been.
Curtain number 3. Yeah, it was. It was.
I was trying to figure.
And I know he can
one.
get sensitive about that stuff because he doesn't. He didn't say a lot to a lot of folk. But yeah, it was. He actually got in this accident by trying not to hit someone else. So
that's how it happened.
Sacrificial.
Had he not, grabbed control of his vehicle, but as a result, he went straight into a utility pole.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, and it looked like the front of his truck was almost wrapped around the pole.
Wow.
But when I drove up and I saw the airbags, and please forgive me, Evan, if you hear this, because he's very private. He isn't like this. But hey, we're talking about gratefulness, and I'm a father. So what?
That's the dad.
The dad coming out.
I love it.
I walked up there and I saw that the airbags were deployed, and I said to myself, I was asking him, "Are you okay?" Of course, he's a guy. He said, I'm good. But it wasn't until later that night. He says, my knee hurts. I said, oh, you okay? That's the accident, Machismo, right? But I was grateful. And the thing about it is that after the accident, everything was fine. Everything calmed down and whatever. Boy, it makes you, while I didn't see the accident, it makes you, roll back how that scene occurred and what could have happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, without the airbags and without his harness on, he would have been through the windshield.
Wow.
Because he was going downhill on a rainy day. And he has one of these Toyota, 4Runner. So it's a heavy, truck.
Yeah.
And someone pulled out in front of him. Had he not pulled out of the way, he would have broadsided this woman and probably killed her.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
But as a result, he swerved out of the way and hit this pole. So it could have ended up pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I was just so grateful that
look
he was
at
able
God,
to,
right?
Yeah,
I'm grateful he had you to call too. You know what I mean? Because he could be out. He could have been in another state. He could have been. But the fact that you were close enough to be able to go to the scene,
he was trying to make a meeting here at the media center, and what's interesting is that I still have that text. He knew he was late, and he texted. He says, "I'm on my way." Okay, to say like, "Hey, I'm coming. I know I'm late. I'm coming." Right after that, the next communication I got was, "Dad, I don't think I'm going to make this meeting." I said, "What for? You were just on your way, kind of thing." He says, "Well, I had a little accident." And of course, right then, I dropped everything.
See, it is funny.
It's like, where are you?
like father,
don't
like
think I'm going to
son.
make it.
You know, when Charles said, "Well, Charles said I have a little something. I don't know if it's
Right.
you know,
A little something. I just got $2,600 from my
Right.
That's better than 2,600 any day.
Then Evan
But
Evan says, I might not make the meeting. I wrapped my truck around a tree. And, these are great.
I think all of us have something to look back on and say, "Oh boy, if this hadn't happened, I would not be here."
Yeah.
Can I just say this, Chuck? You just activated gratefulness in all of us by just that same story, because we're all friends with Evan. Forget it; it didn't have to be anybody that we knew, but just to think that text message,
could have been the last.
Pat, I was just thinking that's the kind of stuff you hear at the funeral. His last message was, "I'm on my way." I guess he was on his way, wasn't he? On his way, you know. I mean, some preacher would make that the whole sermon, and I mean, just to know that he's all right walking
Tally,
around.
I'm sick of you, Tally, because you know whoever the eulogist want to be front and center.
Oh yeah.
The title of the sermon today is
here's the epilogue.
Are you on your way this morning?
Go ahead.
Here's the epilogue of this story. Since I put his business out there, here's the epilogue. He loved that truck that he had.
Yeah,
he was in the process of, he had work done on it. He did the work on it, and he took pride that it was an older Toyota and all. And I kind of felt bad for that. Once I knew he was okay, I said, "Wow, son, I know how you felt about this truck." Well, guess what?
You got another one?
He found another one better than the one he had.
Ain't God good?
All right.
Ain't God good?
What are you doing?
Next time you're up at the conference office, take a look at it.
There it
is. That's the organ.
There you go.
Ain't God good?
So the moral to the story, I mean, he was still, this is one of his passions. He likes getting old vehicles and fixing them up and flipping them and all that. But this particular truck was his, you know how us guys say, "Oh, that's my baby." That's my whatever. But then he found another truck. God blessed him with another truck of that particular vintage and better than the one that crashed.
Right.
So these are happy endings and grateful for it.
Yeah.
Just tell him.
I'm going to get a text. You know what? Tonight, I'm going to get a text from my son saying, "Dude, can his brother get a little privacy here?"
Let me look into the camera and say this. You know, this time though, my friend Evan, try not to climb a tree with your truck.
Oh my goodness. Evan, don't laugh at that.
No, exactly.
We're glad you will. But you know, one of the things is, you know, you read that text that they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and the word of their testimony, which is basically the currency of being grateful. I'm sharing the fact that I recognize the blood of the Lamb is the power of God operating in my behalf, and I recognize that God is doing something here, and I am willing to share it. And because of our bent toward perfectionism, we tend to not want to share things because we don't want people to know we've been broken, that we failed, that God had to rescue us. But it's time for the redeemed of the Lord to say so.
Amen.
Right. Okay. All right.
That is true. You preaching that, buddy.
Do that organ, man.
So
now that I'm retired, I can do this on a Sunday. So
okay, I want to ask some more, because some of them will be quicker for us. Like, name something that makes you smile.
Family.
Ice cream.
Macaroni.
I thought yours would be watermelon.
Yeah. I went to the non-healthy side, but yes,
maybe it's watermelon ice cream. There you go.
Something that makes you smile. All right.
Halle Berry.
All right now.
Babies.
Hell
yeah.
Okay.
Babies.
And kindness, acts of kindness.
Yeah.
Smile. Okay. So, particularly because we all have met from our work environment, what makes you appreciate your job or your career the most?
Sally, I had to do something. Sally, I had to do something before you did. That's why.
Oh, that was so on point.
I think for me, it's results.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Administrators are watching. I had a camera problem just now.
And I had to teach my team, which includes, my boys as well. And I have other, team members, and they work really hard at what they do. And I have to remind them of the ministry perspective of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And while you may not even get a thanks at an event, you may not, know that the work you're doing is having an impact on someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may never know their name. You may never meet them, but understand that there are results as a result of your work.
Yeah.
I love that.
I once heard a preacher say that the work that we do in ministry, we're grateful for the check we receive, but we don't do it for the income. We do it for the outcome.
Amen.
Right.
The Lord knows we could get paid a whole lot more doing other things. So it's about
that GP can turn a phrase, man.
We
don't do it for
it's the rapper that's within him. He's really a rapper. I know he is.
So clap your hands, everybody.
A couple of years ago, actually about 6 or 7 years ago, I met with my team. And, you're brave about a good program that you just had, and you just feel really good. It was a Sunday, and I met with all of them. And I said, hey, I'm ready. What can I do to be a better leader? Or what do I need? And I'll tell you, the second thing that came out of one of their mouths was, and let me flip it, said, you never say thank you.
Wow.
Wow.
We know that you are, but you never say it.
Wow.
And it was I have to say, how you well up with tears, because I am thankful, but you never say it. Came from Probin Rowe.
Wow.
In Virginia.
No problem. It sounds like something he would say too.
No, but he was right.
Yeah.
We worked together, and they always backed me. They backed ministry. They always at the height of their work in pathfinding, but never said thank you.
Man,
and let me go back to what GP said. When I started to say it more, and it's a cultural thing, but you heard what I said. We'll talk about that another day. It was a cultural thing, but I was able to you get more outcome. When you say it, even better than when you show it. Both ways, they work hand in hand. And so that's what I wanted to say, is that when I started to say thank you, you see more of a
Pat, the administrators are listening. You're going to get a big fat Christmas bonus this year.
Thank you.
Right along those lines, Pat, sometimes the Spirit gives me the opportunity to thank someone, absolute total stranger, don't know this person, and I see the reaction that people get. I've done this hundreds of times, but I will pick. I don't know. Maybe you could be checking into a hotel, and the hotel, staff is very nice to you, and they do, and most things people say is okay, thanks, and they walk away from the counter. But there are times when, if you go back and you ask a person, come here, can I talk to you a second? I remember just recently I was at a hotel, and you know how they prepare these, it's like a continental breakfast in the morning, and this layout, you don't always get the best at some of the hotels, but this was laid out so nice, and the person was so meticulous and so, professional. And I went up to her and I said, may I speak to you a moment? She said, oh, sure. Is there something you need? I said, no, I just wanted to take this moment to thank you for your hard work and your professionalism. And as a result of that, I'm enjoying a very nice breakfast. Well, she was stunned.
Wow.
It's like, me? I'm just I'm
just doing my job.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was stunned. And every time that I do that, most people who never get a thank you are just completely blown away. They almost don't believe you. It's like nobody stops purposely to say thank you. So I think that's part of our discussion here, being thankful. We should be thankful to others who do things that never get recognized ever because, that's your job.
Yeah.
That's
That
your
rem-
job. You know,
Mm.
our sanitation workers that pick up, you know, our trash, you know, we try to make it a point to leave something for them
Yes.
during the holidays.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
You know, because I mean, like, you know, we think, oh, the trash man, you know, that's their job, pick up the trash. See ya.
Yeah.
No, these people have families, they have feelings, they have,
Yeah.
and they're doing the job you wouldn't want to do.
That's for sure.
And guess what? If they don't show up, all right, because
Right.
we've personally had that experience recently. But it's thanking those, you know, the mailman, thanking the, you know, the people that are just taken for granted.
Yeah.
I think we
Mhm.
ought to, you
That
know, spend
reminds
more
me.
time to do that.
I was just before we settled into our home, we were in a hotel for literally like 70 days, over 2 months. And
Wow.
you know, it was rough sometimes, but we're
Yeah.
grateful for
Yeah.
the fact that we had a roof over our heads while we're looking for
Mhm.
housing. So we talked to our housekeeper. We became friends with her. Her name was Cheryl, sweet lady. We would talk to her every day. You know, hey, what's your favorite snack? What's your favorite things to do? And we would every week we would give her something, whether it was a snack, whether it was something that she could enjoy. And some days we talked to her, hey, it was a busy weekend. How'd you do with tips? Like, I made $2 on this floor. Like, what? A tips? After a
Wow.
big party came in and stayed? She was like, people don't say thank you. People aren't grateful. They just expect
That's
you to
right.
do it. And when it was time for us to check out, we got her a card. We put $300 in there.
Wow.
Mm.
That's
Nice.
nice.
And we left our phone number. She called us back crying, just grateful.
Mhm.
Oh,
And the entire
wow.
staff, because they were like, normally people are rude, they're not generous, they're not patient, they
That's
just
right.
want you to serve them. But you
That's
all were
right.
just loving to us, and we so
Oh, what a
appreciate you all.
ministry.
Yeah.
And they gave us a gift when we checked out, like a nice
Oh.
plaque and a welcome home
Mm.
gift.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
listen,
That's
when
Well, you
you're a
know,
blessing to somebody else, you will be
exactly.
blessed in return.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's another one that's rare, and
Shout out to
I
Marriott.
try to make a point to do this, but you know, the Pine Forge is in Douglasville Township, and we have Douglasville police officers. We have a pretty good relationship with them. But there was one time Cruiser was on the side, you know, he's kind of, you know, getting people to slow down or whatever. And I pulled up alongside of him. And I didn't even know his name, but I knew he was an officer from Douglasville Township Police. And I said, hey, how are you doing today? He said, fine, sir. You know, I said, I just wanted to stop and thank you for the work you do.
Very nice job.
He was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, thank you, kind of thing. Because, you know, cops have gotten a bad, you know,
Yeah,
bad press. And I just said, I just want to thank you for the work. I realize you're risking your life. And, you know, and I just want to thank you for doing that. It just, his whole countenance changed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because he thought when I pulled up next to him, I was going to report something
Yeah.
or, you know,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to say
Mhm.
thank you. And he said, oh, thank you so much, sir. And he, you know, rolled his window up and I drove away. I mean, how many of us are intentionally reaching out to people
Right.
to say thank you? Isn't that what
Right.
Thanksgiving is all about too?
Mhm.
I mean, saying
Yeah.
thankful, thank you to people that sometimes are total strangers.
You know, and I think Tasha, you asked about the job that makes you
Yeah. What
appreciate.
do you appreciate the most about
And
that?
Chuck, when did you come on board at Allegheny East? What year were you hired?
Officially, I believe it was 1986.
Wow.
Okay, I asked because I wanted to make sure that when I made this statement, it was valid. I was hired in 1980. No, 1978 actually.
I
So
was a
I'm,
baby.
I,
Oh, wait, no.
you
Did
know,
you say?
I'm
Did you
trying to
say
figure out
when I
how do
was
I reach to the
officially?
phone and get to Marlena.
Let
You know,
me correct that. Did you say when I was officially an employee of Allegheny East?
yeah.
Okay, that was 1986, but I was employed as a part-time long before that.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, the reason I was saying is because I'd like to think that I'm one of the senior people hired by this conference. And I mean, I was hired, I was 21, and I was sent directly to seminary. The greatest thing about this job is the people,
Yeah.
the fellowship. I mean,
Mm.
Yeah.
I am so deeply grateful for having had the men and women of this conference walk through my life and deposit wisdom and encouragement, some of them who have gone on from, from Elder, Butch Fordham was a true friend. We pastored together in Baltimore, and I knew him before that. And, I mean, the people of this conference are just extraordinary. Even Alvin Kibble and I, we used to go back and forth. Man, when I was a pastor, we were at war. And he loves me dearly, and I love him in return. You sometimes we fight with each other like family members, but at the end of the day, you know that the people will be there for you. And so that's grateful.
I'm sorry, and I just want to say too,
even those who were children, I got hired. Make me feel.
I fought this call for over 5 years, trying, accepting this call, coming out of corporate America, doing very well, very successful. And now I'm so grateful for it. I am. I mean, just that God would call me, and then that Allegheny East would see the call and hire me. And I got hired during a rough time when the GC, was, not so receptive of female pastors. So I was hired in a rough season where people would leave the church because of you, and the conference didn't care. They ordained me, and I'm just so grateful for them seeing God's call in my life, hiring me, and then
let me add my ordination to
you. Appointing me, and then what Tally says is so important. The people. Oh my goodness. And I'll go stretch forward, the people in the church, and you meet, all kinds of people, all kinds of views, their theology, some great, some not so good, but still the ability to love people, and when you love them, they will love you back.
That's true.
And be extremely grateful for you. And so this calling has been such a joy. And I just want to thank God, thank AEC, thank all of my churches that I've pastored, and the people. And I'm just grateful.
I love it. I love it. And I guess I'll wrap up by, you guys have covered a lot since we work in the same place. A lot of it is the same. I'm grateful for the people. I'm grateful for an opportunity to have a career where ministry is the focus. I mean, I hear people every day who hate their jobs because of what they're doing and not feeling like they have a real impact on anything. And to be able to go to work every day and know that even the small tasks that we do can somehow lead someone closer to Christ or developing their own personal relationship with him is so rewarding. And on top of that, just seeing how God stretches me personally, having a job that stretches me to explore gifts I didn't know I had, or develop gifts that I didn't realize I had. And so I'm just so grateful to be in an environment where I can grow spiritually, I can grow personally, and I can grow emotionally. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to work where I do. But somebody says, "Oh, I was going to say,
amen,
amen, amen."
So while she was talking,
yeah, man. I really enjoyed this conversation. I want to tell you guys, I really enjoyed this conversation, and it made me think about the importance of, one of my favorite times as a kid going to prayer meeting was testimony time, because for me, that was practical ministry. That's when I could really see what God could do. I enjoy studying the word and all of that. But when I heard people talk about, things that they were going through and outlining how God brought them through, that's when God became real to me as a child, because I saw how he was working in other people's lives. And that's why it's very important for us to continue to have these conversations and share what God has done, because there's something about that strengthens. Like, I'm leaving here today feeling like I'm on this high, just having heard all of the things that God has done for all of you. Amen. And I'm hoping that our listeners are feeling that same sense. Reflect on what God has done for you. Reflect on the blessings. Reflect on those things that make you smile. Reflect on why you are appreciative of your career. Reflect on something that has happened to you recently that made you feel more fortunate. And find, you can just Google Thanksgiving prompts or thankful prompts, and you can find other questions to ask yourself to make gratefulness a part of who you are on a daily basis. And if we can do that, if we can learn to be more grateful,
That
you
would
know,
prevent some
Because if you're truly
complaining, right?
grateful,
yeah,
if you're truly grateful, it is a high to say thank you.
yes,
Mhm.
It
yeah,
really is. You feel
yes.
good when you say thank you to someone for something they did or who they are. Um, and I have to listen to the spirit when it tells me that I should go up to someone, a colleague or whatever, and say
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah.
I try to make that a point with my colleagues, just to be able to say, hey, I pulled one of my colleagues along aside a couple of weeks ago, and I said, I see how hard you work, and I just want to say thank you for the ministry that you. And again, we don't get it a lot, and they were like, it was almost like, why are you thanking me? This is my job. It's just like, no, I admire the work you do.
Mhm, mhm.
Thanks, Chuck.
And I'm
And if you said it to someone else, I know that you said it to me recently. So
oh no,
You've done it unto
Patrick,
me.
I'm
I have
grateful.
called you in the past and thank
I'm
you
grateful.
for what your work is. But
Grateful.
it's a type of affirmation, and I think affirmation is saying thank you.
Mhm.
And I'm thankful to have been kidnapped by all of you serving on such an excellent podcast.
Yes.
I
Yes.
appreciate you guys. Love you deeply. Each and every one of you love you deeply. I'm so grateful to have you in my life.
$2,600 should allow you to take us out to dinner.
That's right.
Yeah,
You're really grateful.
You know
I
what?
love you, but I wasn't thinking about loving you that much. I wasn't thinking about it.
Here's the question for those who are watching right now. Why don't you put in the chat right now what you're grateful for?
Right.
Yes,
We'd like to see what you're grateful for, and others would like to see what you're grateful for. But I wanted to say, Marlena, we need to have a show on how we all really got together. I think that Marlena shouldn't be here right now. She was only supposed to be here for just one.
I was a
episode.
trial and error.
No,
it worked. Yeah, I'd like to echo those sentiments as we close. I'm very grateful for the podcast crew.
Yeah.
A group of people that I look forward to connecting with on a weekly basis, bi-week, twice a week. Really appreciate all of you and what you bring to the table. You have been an encouragement to me personally. You've been an inspiration to me personally. You make coming to work more enjoyable. And a lot of it has to do with working with each and every one of you. So I appreciate you.
And we appreciate
to our
you.
subscribers, just find someone to say thank you to.
Yes, give thanks. Yeah.
I'm also grateful for all the I'm sorry, Marlena, all the UpSet family.
I was about to say the same thing. Yes.
Comment
in the same thing.
on YouTube, on Facebook. Some of them don't say anything, but they watch us every Monday.
Yeah.
That's
We're
true.
grateful for all of you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You mean the world to us.
Subscribe and share.
I know, right? So subscribe and share. Keep this going. Show your things. But no, we want to wish everyone a very blessed Thanksgiving, and we wish you a life of gratitude that goes beyond November the 25th. That goes, it's 25th, right?
24th.
That goes beyond
24th
this year. Okay. Beyond November the 24th, beyond just the holiday season. That's something that you can take with you every single day of your lives.
Yeah.
We wish that for all of you. All right, guys. We'll see everyone back here next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
We have a special topic planned for you all. I don't know how many of you know, but this month is Alzheimer's and Dementia Awareness Month. And so before the month ends, we're going to
Marlena remembered.
You're gonna go ahead and tackle that.
I took my dementia medicine, Sally. I'm good.
So make sure you invite people to tune in. We will be live, and caretakers, those who have family members who are experiencing it, we really want that dialogue in the chat next week. And we know it's affecting so many people out there, and we want to talk about it. But until then, like we said, be grateful, be thankful. And God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you next week, same time.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Same place.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Enjoy that turkey.